Hi everyone, and good morning from the shores of Lake Schaefer here in Monticello, Indiana, where today I am at Indiana Beach, a wonderful lakeside amusement park. In this video here, I'm going to show you all the rides, like the Hoosier Hurricane, the big wooden roller coaster, as well as all the other fun that can be found here at Indiana Beach. They are very excited to be in the front row of that ride. Hoosier Hurricane is probably the largest roller coaster in terms of like taking up the entire park. It's kind of a gentler wooden roller coaster and very scenic because it kind of gives you a tour of all that there is to see here at Indiana Beach. Speaking of that, now let's go on a tour of all that there is to see here at Indiana Beach. It's a pretty fun little roller coaster. It goes by the name of Tiger, and it's very small. As you see, it only sits 2 people, but it actually picks up a pretty good pace as it goes around the track. Definitely an older roller coaster, a kind you don't see very much anymore, but a ride I pretty much enjoy. But one thing with the Tiger roller coaster here, it only puts on 2 people at a time, and they only have 1 car. So the lines can be very long and very slow. I will say great use of space here at Indiana Beach with the Tiger roller coaster. It is built on top of a bar and a snack stand. So right now I'm going to talk about the roller coaster with the gray supports. Oh, you got a cool shot. The 2 wooden roller coasters are going at the same time. All right, the one with the gray supports, that is the Cornball Express. Probably the park's best wooden roller coaster. A little bit wilder than the Hoosier Hurricane, much bigger than the Lost Coaster. It's got kind of a quirky layout too, so there's going to be bigger drops and smaller drops. I will say I've ridden this roller coaster for a long time. There's definitely been years where it has run better than it has now. At some points it's been butter smooth. Right now it is not running butter smooth, but it's also not running terrible, so it's still a fun ride. Right now I'm at Steel Hawg, which is a wild little roller coaster. Look at that drop, the beyond vertical drop. You ride in very small 4-passenger cars. I like this part here because you tilt like an outer bank, not the way you normally spin, and then it switches right here. You go inward into a big dive loop inversion. And this ride is a lot of fun. It's pretty smooth as well. You're gonna get the big finale moment over here with the downhill barrel roll. But this is another one where the ride, it only has 1 train, and with 4 people at a time, it goes pretty slow if there's a line. Here you can see the park's main water ride, known as Rocky's Rapids. Not the longest log flume you'll see. Right now I'm at what is Indiana Beach's most unique roller coaster, and one that was only built 1 time. You can see the elevator lift going up there, and this ride is called Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain. It is super fun. It is far more wild than it looks. It is kind of like a mine cart ride through a mountain. It is a small scale wooden coaster. You ride with, in these little cars, there's 4 people per car. You ride forwards or backwards. And while it doesn't look very wild, it is indeed pretty wild. Some of the turns are very sharp. Some of the drops are very sharp. This one's a lot of fun. I really like this ride as it's very unique. There's also some more theming elements to it, but it does not have great capacity. It puts through about 88 people an hour, so try to hit it when there's no line like right now, or else you could be waiting a long time. This ride's also in a fun spot called Air Crow. It's a flying scooters ride that's built on another pier. Right, to enter you go underneath the Cornball Express wooden roller coaster. I am currently on the Den of Lost Thieves, which is the shooting dark ride here at Indiana Beach. It has a wonderful kind of cartoony pirate theme to it. It is about 3 minutes long. There is one scene where you go outside, and that makes a good kinetic energy onto the boardwalk. And I like this ride quite a bit. When any of these blaster style rides, some are better than others. You go on some and like none of the targets work. You go on some and all of the targets work. This one's kind of in the middle, but I do quite enjoy it. Definitely ride it if you're in the park. Now they do only run, I think, 3 vehicles, so this thing can get a long line. The day I was visiting, it was not a long line, but if you're there on a more popular day, it definitely can. In my opinion, the best way to get from one side of Indiana Beach to the other is to take the chairlift. And really great views from up here. You're high up over the midway. You get to look at all the rides. It's just a lovely, relaxing ride. Get the views of the lake as well. Getting ready to launch there is the park's drop tower ride. And I think this is a lot of fun because it's one of the shorter ones, so you don't get really too crazy. But it has really, really good airtime, and it's right on the corner of the boardwalk, so you get some awesome views of the lake. Going around here and making a ton of noise is a ride I like a lot as far as flat rides go. It's a classic Falling Star. But yeah, that is a noisy ride. Another ride with great positioning, the Paratrooper is out here built on a pier in the lake. I'm not normally a big fan of upcharge attractions at amusement parks, but I definitely recommend, if you haven't been here before, go into Frankenstein's Castle. It is $3.50 to get in. It's not included with admission, but there are animatronics and some really cool scenes. It's not overly scary, more spooky and family-friendly than scary. Another quite charming attraction here at Indiana Beach is the Antique Autos. It is interwoven with the Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain, the train, the Hoosier Hurricane, and it kind of exists on little boardwalks. And it's funny because, like, going up the hills, you really crawl up. Going down the hills, a little bit more movement. Sea Dragon looks like it goes pretty good height. And if you hear the spooky noises, that's the barker trying to get people to go to the haunted house. All the way at one end of the midway, you've got a pretty good sized Ferris wheel. Normally I would go on and show you the views, but I'm by myself on this one. Molly can't come on every trip, so no single riders allowed on this Ferris wheel, unfortunately. Here's an attraction you normally find at like go-kart centers or mini golf places. It is bumper boats, and they're the kind with the water gun on it, so don't get too close or you might get splashed. Hey, theme park classic going around there, a tilt-a-whirl. The park is home to another theme park staple, the bumper cars. The Big Flush here is a raft ride. So it's a water slide, but you ride in one of these kind of dinghy rafts and you go down in the darkness. This is not technically part of the water park. A classic scrambler ride is built out on a pier over the water. The park is home to a classic Music Express style ride. This one is open, it is just there's nobody in line. Underneath the wooden roller coasters, you're going to find the kids section of the park. And I'm filming this right after the park opened to make it a little bit less awkward so we won't get any of these rides running. A little cool, I love the little kids Ferris wheel over there. Some very vintage stuff, like this thing is probably very, very old. I'm gonna turn around and take a walk through the rest of them. A lot of very classic Kiddieland attractions, especially in this area, where they use kind of different versions of going around in a circle. This one is boats. What is the next one? We've had little cars, little boats. This one looks like a little kid's kind of a whip, except it's in a circle. All right. And then we get little kids' motorcycles and fire trucks, like how the canopy does work. That is snazzy. Then towards the back, you do get some of the more modern kids' rides, like the frog hopper, little balloon ride. We got two final ones over here, and those two final rides are a rocking tug and then the crazy carp, obviously named after the famous carp in the lake. That's a pretty adorable little ride. One of the more unique traditions here at Indiana Beach, you can feed the carp that are just naturally occurring in the lake. And you can see all of them here with their little mouths looking for food. One of the nearby stands sells carp food. So this is pretty cool. There's a pizza restaurant, and inside they have like a big old-timey organ. Also smells really good in here. I really like this. In one of the buildings, they have kind of a Indiana Beach museum filled with all sorts of signs from the park's history and stuff you could buy too. I love some of these like smaller postcards of Dr. Frankenstein's castle or fascination. Really, really neat. The old fortune teller. Lots of different park memorabilia. As a big dork, I definitely recommend coming in here. If I had more than just my carry-on, I would also probably take something like that home. That's wonderful. One thing I think Indiana Beach does very well is their signage. Like, it's got a very distinct style to it, like this wonderful kind of like late 80s, early 90s cartoony style. But it is, it's really it's something I enjoy. I think it's gives the park some character. I do like the giant Easter Island heads here in front of the Pronto Pup stand. Something I love here at Indiana Beach, they have their own fascination parlor, which is kind of like playing bingo. So you get to roll a ball, and you roll it, and you try and get, you know, 5 in a row any which way. The day I'm at Indiana Beach, there are not a lot of people here, so that means there's no line for the rides, but there's also nobody to play fascination with, so the parlor has been empty all day. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Over in the turnaround of the wooden coaster at the end of the park, found a couple families of Canadian geese, including lots of little ones. Aww. Those guys are a little bit smaller, and then there's ones over here which are still fluffy, but a little bit bigger. Well, this next part of the video is going to be, well, a bit depressing. This next section is unfortunately going to be all the rides that are closed during my visit to Indiana Beach, including that red, white, and blue roller coaster over there. That is the park's newest roller coaster called All-American Triple Loop. It is very intense, but also very fun, and today, very closed. Unfortunately, closed today is the water swings. And yeah, this is a bummer because this ride, it kind of, when you're up and swinging around, you go over the side of the platform and over the water. It's very cool and something that's very kind of unique to Indiana Beach with the setting. You know, I don't know any other one of these that goes over the water like that. The Schaefer Queen is normally a boat that'll take you on a scenic tour of the lake, but it is also closed today. Water slides are interwoven around this roller coaster here. I think it's called the Cyclone. Yeah, this one is closed. This was also closed when I was here in September. I do like the fish-themed cars here on the Sea Warrior? Yes, the Sea Warrior. Or the Polyp, I'm not really sure. This sign calls it the Polyp, and the booth calls it the Sea Warrior. Not sure what its name is, but it doesn't really matter because it's not running. It's got cobwebs on it, so it probably hasn't ran in a while. Closed for maintenance during my visit is Indiana Beach's water park. And yeah, I can see why people would not want to swim in that. Not a very big water park. You've got one body slide here, 4 tube slides there, and a lazy river. There's also a splash pad for the kids, but you can see them working on it. The lazy river actually looks pretty good, but I don't think I want to go swimming in there. I love the old-timey, like this water slide here must have been here for about forever. Look at this old body slide. There is also a splash pad section to the closed water park. One ride I was not expecting to be closed is the park's train, which kind of takes you on a grand circle tour all around Indiana Beach. At least, not today it does. No flying Bobs today. Bob is not flying. This is normally an upcharge attraction called the Sky Coaster, where you get harnessed up and then tethered back and then you have to pull the ripcord to fall and swing. This is not running today. Over there you can see a looping swinging ship. It is red and blue. I can't get over to that side of the park because that whole area is closed. That I believe is a new for 2025 ride that is yet to open. Looks like being stored across the street could be another potential new ride. Looks like a disco. A friendly word of warning. On the website it says Indiana Beach opens at 10 a.m., which it does, but none of the rides run until 11 a.m., which I don't think is stated on the website. So I've kind of had this first hour just looking at stuff. This would probably be very much for me. I guess on June 7th, coming up this weekend, they have a free wrestling show. I'm a big wrestling guy, so I probably really enjoy that. One of the stores sells these wild planters. They're pretty expensive, they're around $170, but they add to kind of a fun decoration while walking around the park. So I've been coming to Indiana Beach for quite some time. I would say almost 20 years now, probably 20 years. And a couple years ago they were selling bricks, and here in the Loop we pretty much always buy a brick when given the opportunity to do so. And there we go, there is the in-loop brick here at Indiana Beach. Always good to find the in-loop brick. Our buddy Kwani, who does videos on occasion for us here at In the Loop, he also bought a brick, and his is fantastic. If you are a fan of the occasional adult beverage like myself, I highly recommend their beer event. It's called Hops and Coaster Drops. It runs on a Saturday in September. It is amazing. It is the park is open from noon to 10 and then from 1 to 5. It's unlimited samples of beer, wine, and liquor. It is just an absolute blast, and it's adults only, so you get to go to an amusement park, drink all you want, and there's no kids. Indiana Beach is definitely a park with some charm. Like, look at this chainsaw carving of Ivy Crow. Looking at my watch, it appears it's about beer 30. Grabbed a beer here at the Beach Brews kiosk. A pretty solid beer offering for a theme park. It was $8.50, which is not bad for theme park prices. And this is a strong boy. Almost 10% juicy bear hug from Goose Island, 20 ounces. Let's go. Underneath the Tiger Coaster, you'll find another bar, and it's closed today. It's not a very busy day at the park. But what I like about this bar is that they have props from the park's history. So you got one of these old boats from Boat Tag. So somebody would drive down there and then shoot up here, and you would fire like tennis balls at the other boats. Later on, that was replaced by that ride vehicle there, which was a splash battle kind of ride. Similar idea, you were on a track and you had to sort of spray the other boats with water. Now that is where the bumper boats are. And there's just some really cool, like, old ride signage. So as a big dork, definitely worth coming in here. This is pretty neat here. There's a whole arcade dedicated to pinball. Looks like they have the high scores on the wall. That is very fun. And they've got all sorts of pinball in here. Now the arcades, they all do take cards. You'll see they all saying how much it costs in Crow Crash. Pretty much $1 is one Crow Crash. Cash. That's not an easy thing to say. Oh, they do have Roller Coaster Tycoon pinball. That's fun. Oh, wow. I guess some of these do not run on Crow Cash, as they have some very, very vintage ones over here. That is, that's really fun. I can't imagine how old these things are. All the way at one end of the park, there is an arcade. Looks like there's a couple of, fair amount of broken games in here. Some more modern games, some older games. Ah, Crazy Taxi, always fun. Another arcade. This one is air conditioned. Also, this one does seem like it has all of its games functioning, which is definitely what you want in an arcade. Hey, it does get hot here at Indiana Beach, so it's might be a good option to cool off. Play Hammerhead or Jurassic Park. All right, let's see what kind of merchandise they have for sale in the big gift shop. As you might expect, you got some different t-shirts with the mascot on it. Lots and lots of t-shirts. Some sweatshirts over here as well. If you're there on a colder day. If you forgot to bring flip-flops or water shoes. They do have some merchandise for the roller coasters themselves, like the All-American Triple Loop. Steel Hog has a water bottle. A shirt for the Hoosier Hurricane. They have some different Indiana Beach Christmas ornaments, including one celebrating 2022 and one celebrating 2021. I do like some of the tumblers. Pretty cool. I do like the design on this series of bags here. They do sell postcards, which I always like. I try to send my parents a postcard from everywhere I go, so they get their fair share of postcards. These do seem like some pretty older postcards, though. You might have to go with the Antique Auto one or the Creepy Pirate. They sell a couple of pennants. I really like the kind of like the 90s style Hoosier Hurricane one. I believe that is in one of my closets back home. And there we go. That'll do it for my time at Indiana Beach. Kind of a mixed bag on this visit. I will say some practical information. It did cost me about $33 to get into the park, and there is no charge to park depending on which lot you go in. Now, I do like parking in the closer lot, the one with the grass, and then you get to go over the big suspension bridge to get in. I think that's a really cool vista to see the park from, and a good welcome experience. Some good, I like Indiana Beach. It's a fun place. It's got some quirk to it. It's It's got some really unique rides. Like you won't find anything like the Superstition Mountain roller coaster. That is a one-of-a-kind attraction. You know, I like the pirate shooting ride. There's not many rides like that with a pirate theme. Steel Hawg is a ride you don't see very often either. And there's a charm to it. It's nice to be on the water. It kind of feels like a bit of old school Americana. I like all the signage. But then, you know, there is some frustrating parts of Indiana Beach as well. There was, 7, 8, 9 rides closed, and that is a lot. You know, when I looked on the park's website before my visit, it only listed 1 ride as being scheduled for closed. And when I got to the park, like, there was way more than 1 ride closed. And then some other rides, they just have really no major maintenance problems. Running 1 train on the Tiger Coaster, 1 train on Steel Hawg, like 1 train on Lost Coaster. Like the capacity on those rides, I think, varies between about 50 people an hour for like the Tiger Coaster to maybe around 100 for the other 2, but it's really, really small numbers for capacity. So if you're there on a busier day, and it's not like they have like 2nd and 3rd trains they could put on, I'm pretty sure that's all they got. At least from what I could see. But yeah, the capacity is definitely kind of rough, and it's never fun to see a park like with that many rides closed. I don't know if it's a staffing issue, I don't know if it's a maintenance issue, or some combination of the 2, but it's never fun to see. But overall, I did enjoy my visit. I look forward to the next time I get to go back to Indiana Beach, probably going to be for that beer festival. If you have any questions about the park, let me know in the comments section below, and thank you very much for watching.